Hello, everyone. It is Monday, the 8th of January, 2024, and a lot more news I could cover. And I did post an archived video yesterday. It's a video I made in 2021, and talking about COVID, talking about therapeutics, talking about so much stuff and information that I was sharing even at that point to all levels of government and beyond. And so this is just another proof that I've been sharing this stuff for years. And even the stuff that I shared yesterday regarding January 6th, that's stuff that I've been sharing and saying now for years as well. And even before the Freedom Convoy. And even with Wu's News, I've shared information about his clips. I only fell upon Wu's News, like I've said, via Matt Hubbard in the last few months. Okay, so even people trying to discredit me or whatever you want to call it, these are all people that are on my channel because of videos that I share that I'm going to be sharing now. And I know that, right? Because there's always certain things that are reported once I start sharing information that part of the woke cult likes to attack and target. And so I find this hilarious. And people that watch my channel and troll me specifically or try to ruin my videos, this is not just myself. So like there's so many other people that expose truth that actually get these people on our feeds, Blair White included. So it's not just people like Russell Brand and Jimmy Dore and Joe Rogan. And actually Joe Rogan's not a truther, but he does share like a lot of people, a lot of truth. And so he does definitely toe the party line when it comes to the bigger facts and the realities of the world, but he still shares like good content. But it would really be nice if he would get more people like me on, because I'm sharing my phone, but I'm sharing even yesterday more crisis actors, this involving Israel and Palestine, and a guy that's pretending to be an IDF soldier, and he's sharing alleged anatomy books that show, anti-Jewish rhetoric. And the page or the insert that he's talking about, that's in their book, it's folded 6 times. So how do you ever get a textbook, any textbook, where there's a complete section where it's folded vertically and horizontally, right? So it's not just like, and so I just don't know if you can see this, but I'll show the full reel. It's from Giles or Jules 14, Juiles 14. Sorry, Julles 14. And the person that posted is Dinah Essa4. So DINASSA 4. Anyway. So I'll just.
Which book? Hamas instills hate towards Jews and the state of Israel. I'm not just saying it. Take a look at this book, for example, Anatomy and Physiology. So what would you expect to read in this book? It's not about anatomy and physiology. So open the first page, it's cover page, and look at the second page right here. Dedication. We dedicate this work to the souls of the Palestinian martyrs who sacrificed their blood for Palestine and Al-Aqsa. So this book is dedicated to the terrorists and to the martyrs who committed terror attacks in Israel against innocent Jewish people. My genocidal brother in Christ. Which book allows...
So you can see yourself. You can screen capture this and take a look at yourself. You can see it's very, very plainly folded in multiple directions and inserted in. And this is what, and this is.
Take a look at this book, for example.
I'll just. And these are what the men look like. So we got to call this guy out again peacefully, but. And he's probably never served a day in his life. Well, I mean, if he's in Israel, he's obviously served because they have conscription. There's mandatory service. And I would argue we probably need that in Canada at some point. But anyways, dressed up like a crisis actor yet again, just like I shared yesterday with January 6th and 9/11 and the Freedom Convoy and so many other friggin' false flag events, ladies and gentlemen. I've also shared the crisis actors in Ukraine, at the borders, protests, all the Black Lives Matter and Antifa protests as well has people that are crisis actors involved, and people don't want to see that, and even people that are pregnant, not really pregnant but pretending to be pregnant, that have been crisis actors, that have been like traumatized by war or border crisis stuff, like they're using the same crisis actors, and I've called this out as well, right? And even people that are very popular podcasters or people that are sharing news they're also like when they go out and they have these speaking conventions and stuff that they go to, these speaking events, they actually also hire their own people to be in the crowds. And these are also crisis actors or playing roles. And I've repeatedly shown that they dress up different ways too. And they ask questions where they know they're going to get trolled, right? Where they know what the answer is going to be. And they know they're going to be humiliated or insulted. And so like, these are also things that are not helping people that are that actually are struggling with mental health and or actually struggling with their identity and stuff like that, because growing up is not easy. And this is why I speak on this stuff too, right? Because I do have nieces and nephews. I still want children. You know what I mean? I want it to be with a loyal and faithful partner. And I will also just actually, I should talk about porn too. Porn is very prevalent in government organizations, especially in the military, that I know for a fact. And it's because there's a lot of people that are gone away from home for extended periods of time, and it's really pushed and promoted. Like even when I was in the infantry for 15 years, like there were people that would bring terabytes literally worth of porn with them, like on deployments and stuff like that. And even like in CAF and in areas like all over like Afghanistan, when you're deployed, like you could purchase internet services on a monthly basis too, believe it or not. And so like the most viewed search, you know what I mean? It was porn, and it still is, right? And I've even shown proof where there's even men on the record saying, being interviewed, saying that they're like people that are part of the algorithms or that part of Pornhub and these other porn organizations, that they're intentionally like swaying like the searches for men, where like even straight men, right? Like there's grooming going on within Pornhub where like they'll add in like a trans person, or they'll add in like a man, you know, and the man will do like man things. And like, this is part of like the normal, what they're considering to be normal sexual behavior. And I'm letting you know that it's not normal sexual behavior. To each their own. But yeah, and it's confusing people. And I don't care what people do over the age of 18. Like, who am I to dictate that stuff? But before the age of 18, like children, like they're not allowed to drink or drive, operate heavy machinery. There's so many, like get tattoos. There's so many things that they're not allowed to do, but we're pushing a lot of agendas on them that are not helping. So even with like the school shooting that happened at that Catholic school, like, a year and a half, 2 years ago now, I guess, or sorry, my goodness, a year ago, not even. There's just been so much back and forth, just so much on the go. But like this was targeted attacks from someone that was I believe to be like obviously mentally unwell, clearly hurt people. And so like even people that have depression and anxiety, I say that these are people that have like disordered thinking. And it's not anything negative, right? Like there's a lot of people nowadays, especially with social media and like the education systems and what our elected officials are pushing. We're dealing with a lot of strife at this point, especially in Canada. There's a lot more censorship. We know we're getting lied to, and we have entitled, privileged people that are working in government that are supposed to be working for us that actually are slamming us and working against us and actually targeting us, even including farmers and families and parents and stuff like that. Literally going like and actually like establishing counter protests against people trying to push against the woke agenda. And so there was a school shooting like at a Perry High School just a couple of days ago, and this was another trans person or trans identifying person or within the LGBTQ plus XYZ group that killed people and harmed people. All right. And so this is why we need to talk more about this stuff. And I am not too, and I'm courageous enough, I guess you would say, to speak on the stuff where a lot of people won't. And I've had my home tagged by grown ass men trying to pretend that they're women and they're not. And this is with disordered thinking as well. Like I'm diagnosed with complex PTSD, being of service to Canada, and other traumatic events too, like a lot of people go through as well. But like being of service to Canada, like I've experienced a lot of fucking trauma that even a lot of grown ass men, even in the military, have not experienced because it's only a small percentage of Canada's military that's actually in the infantry, and of that there's only an even smaller amount of people that are officers, and so there's a lot of elements to that and stuff. But I have grown ass men that like that are so weak of character, and they get on my accounts too, and they'll report my accounts, or they'll tag my home, or they'll like negative comments, trolling comments, and they think I care about what they think. No, like you're part of the problem. People that are actually harming people and or trying to report people or try to prevent the truth from coming out. When there's more school shootings, okay, and they're targeting children, And they're targeting people that are religious and or faith-based and stuff like that as well, because there's such an anti-religious, anti-God rhetoric going on, and also in these groups. And there's more families and parents that are suing schools, by the way, now too, for grooming children, and even people that are finally recognizing this. Even in the FBI, people that are finally acknowledging this, that that even with the bathrooms and stuff like that, and these like these universal bathrooms that they're trying to put in place, like this is actually like increasing predatory behavior and enabling and supporting it, and predatory behavior against people, women and children, against people that would exploit them and have and so there's a lot of increases in exploitation of women and children, and by men and making women and children feel uncomfortable in places that are supposed to be safe spaces, and making it seem more like, no, it should be okay for them to be undressed in front of a 50-year-old man, even if you're a child, okay, because he identifies as a teenager. That's also something that just happened in Toronto at a swimming complex, where a grown-ass man identifies as a child, as a female child. I'm not even kidding you, and they're allowing him to change with teenagers. And I'm letting you know now. Again, I'm very much peaceful. I've had a lot of people fuck with me and even try to fucking break into my home and harassing me, even as someone that has complex PTSD, exacerbating my injuries. Grown-ass men that are part of Taggart crew, which I have the video proof, and so I can identify them, even their supervisor and heads of anatomy and stuff like that. I gave them the proof in the videos, and by law and law enforcement and stuff like that. But these people are supporting and enabling the destruction of our cities, and they don't give a shit about us, right? And I've also shared that there's even people from Huntmar law enforcement and other police officers that actually were harassing citizens all over Ottawa with explosions and stuff like that, and like way too close to civilians, including children. And so part of the problem. And again, I back the blue Helen Gruce, Ottawa Police Services. She's on trial yet again. Actually, today in another hour, I believe, or hour and a half, it's an open hearing. It's not anything that's going to be televised, because it's too much of an embarrassment for Ottawa law enforcement. How disgusting they like people were towards Helen Gruce and anyone that was trying to share medical, scientific, and government data. And I've shared the memorandums that I've submitted to all levels of government, and all the like the medical and scientific links and references and dissertations, and debunked original trials and the adverse side effects that were released even as early as February of 2021. So much stuff that they were not even like failures at all levels, let me tell you. And she was trying to call out the like sudden infant deaths, and looking at the correlation or a possible correlation or link with mothers and or fathers, because there were, by the way, people that were spreading diseases and viruses as well once they were inoculated. And 4.6% of people in the original trials, I've shared this. There's a risk of contracting COVID and the flu and pneumonia and autism and so many other friggin' side effects via these inoculations. And I've shared the proof literally from the manufacturers themselves. So if anyone wants to say otherwise, or say that this is medical misinformation, I'm telling you it's not, because it's directly from Pfizer. And I've shared it, and I'll link it. So let's see what else. Yeah, so I shared a lot of information, compelling video footage about Ashley Babbitt possibly still being alive, and even people within her close network saying that she's alive. And so I've shared this. I shared yesterday as well, cops attacking and arresting a teenager in Canada. This was like not last winter, I believe, but it was this was like this was winter 2020. A child wanting to play hockey on an ice rink. There's like no one else around and stuff like that, but arresting him because of our pandemic lockdowns. But I've also shared videos of protesters, which could be crisis actors as well, and people that are hired and paid also to cause this distraction, because the list is out and Justin Trudeau's on the list and Sophie Trudeau's on the list. You know what list I'm talking about. And I've been sharing that for years now. So why are people in Canada not talking about this? I don't know. But anyway, law enforcement getting literally threatened, literally their lives threatened by people. And it's on the record. The guy can be identified. It's literally, it's made it like national fucking news. And the cop looked scared and did nothing about it. But like, no, let this guy, let him unleashed around women and children, right? Like, you're scared of him as a law enforcement guy with all your friggin' stuff and your handcuffs included and multiple other people around. But you'll go out, and then you will knock over a grown ass woman, an elderly woman during a peaceful protest. And I've shared this video proof. An old man looked to be in his 70s and 80s, arrested him because he wouldn't provide his ID because he wasn't committing any crimes. He was literally on a sidewalk downtown, again, peaceful. And grown ass men in uniform. I'm talking like 30s, and manhandling this old man. But when it comes to other men, like I've talked about too, I've been stalked and harassed, even people that are ex-special forces and that are still in the media, which is upsetting enough that nothing happened to this person, despite multiple incidents that I have on the record and that I've given this to law enforcement. But people like that are protected. And law enforcement, the criminal investigator said, I'm not going to lie, if I was you, I'd be scared too. And his solution was for me to move. And then for a year and a fucking half, I had pieces of shit from Taggart literally destroy my home. So, and I have the video proof of that as well. So like my window literally off of my ensuite bathroom being held on by a fucking rope, my awning damaged, roofing from the heritage site like hit my house as well during a fucking huge windstorm that happened after they shredded all the fucking trees and damaged multiple other homes in the area as well. And then had to pay the deductible and wait 7 fucking months for it to get fixed. And then literally them using vehicles. My first open house, I have all the videos of this as well, to literally target it. No other vehicles on the heritage site. One literally was off my fence for literally hours and just beep, beep. And then with the beep, 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 I've shared multiple videos of them like on the record for like multiple minutes, just parked outside of my fucking home, 5 meters away from me and other kids, by the way, because there was a family with 3 kids and they were trying to sell as well. And they're from South Africa. And now they're in the US now. Like they sold finally as well the same day that I sold. And it was literally as they were leaving. and so that was also something that was planned. Because people are fucking nuts in Ottawa now. I'm just letting people know. And it's definitely not easier being a single female because you are definitely a lot more targeted and exploited and vulnerable to people just trying to fuck with you because they have nothing better to do with their lives, not even knowing that you've been more of service for Canada and them and their families than they will ever fucking be, and actually trying to like save their families from people like them and them. So I hope that they can go to sleep at night knowing that they're pieces of shit to Canada and openly and willingly destroying our city and making the 15-minute prisons that their fucking families and their friends and they are going to be part of very short order. Wondering why people are pissed off at them. 7 days a fucking week. And people are talking about a freedom convoy that was peaceful for a couple of weeks. It was downtown and they were literally abiding by the hours of like that were allocated. So like, I think like after 10 PM or 7 PM, like there was no ruckus, but you're in the downtown core and there's people that are at restaurants, at bars, and it's loud anyways. And so like, if you don't want that fucking noise, don't be downtown in a high rise. I was in suburbia, backed on a heritage site that was never supposed to be touched, literally in the agreement, in the contract. And within 2 years, like these fucking pricks, again, it's all about money and being sold to foreign nationals and people that are going to be renting it to us. And anyways, I'm going on these tangents. Yeah, some more video I've shared. I went on my bike again yesterday with my dogs. It was like full of snow out. The plow finally came on my road because it's a trail. It's not really like a main road or anything. It's not paved. And it was afternoon. And so, but the snow, like on all the side trails I go on to, they were completely too covered up for bikes. Yeah, so this is from Gays Against Groomers, which is a really good site that I follow. Because again, I'm not anti-gay or anything like that. Like I've even said, like I have, it's been years, but like I have also like been with women and like in my past, not a lot, right? Like I was curious, and it wasn't anything where I was getting drunk and just having like whatever you want to call it, sex. I started to date someone that was a woman. It wasn't one of those one night stand weird, like none of that stuff, or threesomes or orgies, none of that stuff. Like in my early 20s, I didn't know, because I was very alpha for a woman. I was very strong. I was very fit. I was very active. I was very like into like the sciences and the mathematics. People told me that these were all things that were more male or masculine. I never bought into that stuff. And so even people saying like, oh, you should cut your hair. And like, I'm like, no, I'm not cutting my freaking hair. Like, what are you talking? Anyway. So, and I have friends that are gay. I have friends that are married and happily married that are raising really well-adjusted children. And so like my whole point to even like raising children is like, if you're in a healthy, happy household with 2 parents, that statistically they have better outcomes than single parent households. Anyway, We have learned that the deranged Iowa school, this is their words, not mine. We have learned that the deranged Iowa high school shooter was also part of the LGBTQIA plus community. From his now deleted TikTok account, it seems he considered himself gender fluid, and he posted in support of trans kids as well. It's time to have a serious conversation in this country about how gender ideology and TQ plus activists, because it's not the LGB, it's the TQ plus activists. I'm saying the activists, not the people. Okay, not people that are questioning their sexuality or people that are questioning their any of that stuff. Right? There's two biological sexes. Okay, and yes, there are people that are born without reproductive organs or whatever, and or with both to varying friggin' degrees. But for the average, okay, which is what we talk about to base our friggin' studies off of, for the average, people are either male or female. And if you don't feel, and if you don't feel comfortable as a male or female, and again, like I have been exposed to this in my life as well because of my career choices, because of my interests, because of my hobbies and the activities and stuff like that. So I've dealt with a lot of like people trying to like get me to feel or think or do certain things, you know what I mean? And I just, luckily I was healthy enough in my own, healthy enough, wise enough, I guess, and or comfortable enough in my own skin where I was like, okay, well, no, I'm just like, this has nothing to do with my biological sex or what I identify as. Like, these interests that I have, or these hobbies, or these characteristics, right? Like, this is has nothing to do with who I have sex with, or what I identify at, whatever, and everything to do with like what I put my efforts towards, if that makes any sense, right? And so, like, if you're putting your efforts towards being a victim, you're going to be a victim. If you put your efforts towards working out, having a proper sleep schedule, trying to like filter your water and eat healthy and build the life that you want, right? Because at the individual level, like, no matter what, unless you put the effort in, you like into anything that you do, like nothing's going to happen. They're radicalizing young mentally ill people. There have been too many instances of these tragedies in such a short time. It's been a very short time. And if people are in single household families and or in households where like it's unhealthy, it's an unhealthy environment, and kids are looking for love or attention or affection or belonging or a sense of purpose, all this stuff, and they're just like not getting it. Their home environment is chaotic, and they're getting that from that attention from someone, then they're going to gravitate towards that. And it just seems like certain groups like to use colors, and they like to use like very, very childlike even costumes and fits and speaking mannerisms. Like, why are you talking like a child? Why are you wearing a diaper? You know, I thought you identified as a woman. Like, why are you friggin' like, why do you have a sauce in your mouth? Yeah. Anyway, yeah. And so with Blair White, I'll share some of Blair White stuff. I know I'm already going on a friggin' huge tangent, but and I know people personally that are transgender, and these are not people that are attacking or vilifying or forcing people into like accepting them for who they are and stuff like that. Like, and so this is what I mean. It's a small group, but there are extremists being created in these organizations. Just like any organization, there's extremists, but left unchecked, that can do things like what happened just a few friggin' days ago yet again. And there's a lot of churches being burned down and attacked in Canada still. So we've got to remember that there's a lot more Catholic and Christian churches than any other religious organizations that have been targeted, despite what social media wants you to believe, since October 7th. I shared Neil Oliver's speech. It was great. And so this is from Jay Neasy, 2100. If all of these sudden deaths were in the unvaccinated population, it would be all over the news 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I actually commented on his post saying, and actually, what did I say? I just want to be very accurate. It was a fast post. It would be celebrated. Yeah. So if all of these sudden deaths and like all of these like weird excessive deaths that we're not making connections to, if those were all in unvaccinated people would be celebrating that, because people were literally willing me and wishing me dead for literal years on the record. Like, I'm talking about people trans like people like tagging my home, to try to and like a man tagging my home, like to try to like enforce violence on me. Like when you tag someone's home, you're letting multiple people in your community know where that person lives, right? And so like again, like weak men create weak societies. And when you're actually, so what is he gonna do next? Like, is he gonna go punch a baby? Is he gonna go to a daycare and like slap some fucking kids around? Like big tough man. Yeah, Bill Clinton on the list. So many people on the list. Just like I said, even Trudeau, allegedly, and even Tim Dillon's talking about it. All mainstream media is sugarcoating this and saying, oh, just because Bill Clinton was on the island like 50 plus times, like doesn't mean that he did anything wrong. Okay, but if you go to a crackhead or a drug dealer 50 plus times, and you're gonna come at me and saying like, oh, but I never bought, I never touched, I never. Like, do you really think I'm gonna fucking believe you? Or anyone? Like, come on. On the list. Stephen Hawking still coming out with more freaking hilarious stuff. And people are like, oh, how can you insult someone that's like handicapped? This person, like, this is what I mean. They will choose people that they think where they're untouchable to be questioned. And I have friends, by the way, that not pieces of shit, okay? Because like even complex PTSD is a disability, by the way, being of service. But I also have friends that are double and triple and quadruple amputees being of service to Canada, okay? Not a fucking liar, okay? That people exploited a birth defect, unfortunately, and he ate it up and he went with it. And even Owen, what's his name? Anyway.
Real person. He was a character. And people say, how dare you, Big Bear?
So I'm muting it now, but Stephen Hawking, so he had a translator before he had that like automatic like language thing. This is all fake. Okay. And so he would even pretend, and I'm going to share it. And I hope that you can see this video, but I'm asking you to also look for your Owen Benjamin. That's what his name is. So Owen Benjamin shared this clip. So I highly recommend people take a look at it. And the social media app that shared it was The Secrets Within CP. The Secrets Within CP. And it's like a triangle pyramidal profile pic. Anyway, so the interpreter in Stephen Hawking, by the way, just to give you like to paint the scene or whatever, he's doing things like and the friggin' interpreter is pretending that he's actually having a fucking full out conversation with him.
Stephen Hawking. I've talked a lot about how Stephen Hawking was not a real person. He was a character. And people say, how dare you, Big Bear? How dare you? When Dave Chappelle makes fun of it in 5 years, we'll discuss it. But this is an actual translation. Before his robot voice, he had a translator who looks exactly like Larry Bird. Tell me if you think that anything about this is real. I think in a way physics has been in progress away from mysticism. Toward the rational understanding of the universe. Stephen, when did you first realize you wanted to be a physicist? I think I knew from about the age of 9 or so that I wanted to be a scientist. Most of my activities like playing with model fireworks or model railways or playing complicated games was aimed in some way at finding out how the world worked around me. I was never very good with my hands, so my models did not work very well. Okay, guys, we can all see that this is not real at all. It was normalized by Han Solo. Well,
normalized by Han Solo.
Stephen Hawking. I've talked a lot about how Stephen Hawking was not.
Okay, so I'm going to mute it. Actually, no, I'm not going to mute it.
And people say,
but I don't know if you'll hear like the audio because like sometimes when I share close, like I've tried this in previous videos, you're not able to. And the reason why, like, sorry, like I'm gonna like do full circle. The reason why I'm sharing a lot of videos within like the last year, not even since August of this year, is because like now that I have StreamYard and stuff like that, I had to move in order to like get all this stuff set up to actually do videos and share and stuff like that. Before that, I was using my phone, pre-recording things. I wasn't able to share or upload or put any content other than like me on video. And then I was uploading it on Rumble. and sometimes on YouTube as well. But then I had these friggin' fairies that would friggin' report me all the time. And fairies is applicable to anyone that's a beta and literally just being a pussy instead of actually just listening to information. They're just like you're allowing your emotional bias to just to seep through and infest. Anyway.
He was a character. And people say, how dare you, Big Bear? How dare you? When Dave Chappelle makes fun of it in 5 years, we'll discuss it. But this is an actual translation. Before his robot voice, he had a translator who looks exactly like Larry Bird. Tell me if you think that anything about this is real. I think in a way physics has been in progress away from mysticism towards a rational understanding of the universe. Stephen, when did you first realize you wanted to be a physicist? I think I knew for about the age of 9 or so.
Yeah, come on.
Well, so I want to hit on this.
Okay, and so I'm still, before I even get on the Blair White, I'm just going through my social media posts. And this is why, like, I don't put any of this stuff in my titles on my videos because it'll be like really, really long. But like, it's like my titles have nothing to do with any of the stuff that I've just shared, even with Stephen Hawking and others. So government authorities raid Amos Organic Farm, seize foods in Pennsylvania, and they're alleging it's because of like an underage person that had like E. coli. And I'm like, my brother in Christ, there's E. coli feces. Like I've repeatedly shared and proven, like even online, look at it yourself. There's like in aspartame. So aspartame is literally E. coli in human feces. And so check it out yourself. And so I shared that with a comment because someone's like, oh, and the reason why they got raided is because they're selling unpasteurized raw organic food and it's bad for the environment. And there's a little kid that got E. coli. Like, are you like, do you even know that? Like, anyway. So I'm saying cops full out raid a friggin' farm where there's people that are selling like where there's like no chemicals or GMO like friggin' animals, like they're not abused. It's grass fed. Like they're showing videos of like of really, really healthy conditions for all of their animals, and they're not getting abused. And I'm like, look at your grocery store, you know, at your fake meats or look at how the animals were raised for the meat that you're eating in your grocery stores or McDonald's or your fast food restaurants, and you're going to go after farms. And again, this is what I mean. Like this has literally happened all over the world, and it's caused massive amounts of suffering and starvation for these countries in a very short period of time. And if you look at Holodomor in Ukraine, you'll see that millions of Christians were starved out intentionally by the government by design. I'm not even making this stuff up. Like this is literally on the record, and I've shared the proof. And targeting the farmers and the stocks and the supply and the food chain and find like the finances. And so cops complying with unlawful orders yet again. As someone who has refused to obey unlawful orders, I'm profoundly disappointed at the excuses men in uniform use to justify crimes against citizens paying their salaries, thus keeping them alive with food and money, biting the hands that literally feed you. So like we're calling this out more and more now too. And like, what do you expect to like people are condemning people that are slashing tires of politicians and elected officials and all of this stuff. And again, I'm like, I'm not promoting any of that stuff, but I'm saying like, where do you expect this to go? Like a serious question when I personally and countless other thousands of Canadians have personally emailed all levels of government cabinet that are issued government issued email addresses. And as public servants, by the way, that's on the record and open source information for all of us. So all the emails from Justin and Chrystia Freeland and Patty Has You, all these freaking people, you can actually access, you can request it, like those emails and request to get access to them and see these emails and they'll black out a lot of it. You know what I mean? But they are public servants. And so when you're going after the people that are literally like growing the food that you're consuming and the byproducts and or like the eggs and the milk and the butter and all this other stuff like that are going to grocery stores and stuff like that, like what is wrong with you? And if you're going after the ones where the animals and the soil and the plant life, they're all treated significantly better than like what's being pushed on us, literally what is wrong with you? This is like more weak men creating weak societies. And like
important story.
Why? And so like unlawful orders, you don't. First of all, you should not follow, and that's why there's rules, and things that people should be abiding by. But anyway, ridiculous world, and Canada is just a little bit of a mess. And so Dylan Butler is that was the shooter. Anyway, this is Blair White. Oh yeah, and I was saying like after the age of 18. So if you are someone that legitimately like it feels like more feminine and would be more comfortable being seen and perceived as a woman because of like various different reasons, but like Blair was saying, she like more feminine features, like smaller frame and all of this stuff, and just at a very young age, and just felt more comfortable like going to, like being around women and stuff like that. So like I would like, and so it's not up to me, but like with Blair White, like I wouldn't feel uncomfortable being in a bathroom with her at all. And it's because like I've looked at a lot of her work. I understand where she's coming from, and yeah, and she even admits as well that she. Anyways, I'll just play this video because she also speaks up and out on people that are trying to exploit the LGBT community, and making it as something that's like that's grooming people into being like at the lower levels confused, at the higher levels mass murderers.
Continue to go into women's restrooms. I will.
Man that identifies as a woman. He looks to be a lot larger than I am, so way larger than a child.
Continue to go into women's restrooms, women's locker rooms, women's spaces, because I am a woman, whether you like it or not.
I want you to love yourself. I am ready to retire very early. It's really too much, right?
Oh,
right. Too much for any person.
Do you want to know the trans version of the Roman Empire? It's the fact that we are in stage 7 of genocide in America for trans people.
I'm sorry. I'm just going to like I'll reload, see if like maybe it will.
I will continue to go into women's restrooms, women's locker rooms, women's spaces, because I am a woman, whether you like it or not.
Like how creepy is that? I will continue to go into women's locker rooms, bathrooms, whether you like it or not.
I want you to love yourself.
Yeah. If I had a child, if I was blessed and grateful like, to have a child with a husband, all that stuff, I would be getting my child the hell out of that bathroom and filing a complaint against any friggin' like place where you're allowed to be in the same friggin' change room or washroom as a oh my God. No.
I'm ready to retire very early. It's really too much, right? Too much for any person.
Do you want to know the trans version of the Roman Empire? It's the fact that we are in stage 7 of genocide in America for trans people.
I hate her. So one of two things may happen here. Considering I experienced these people in real life now, in that warehouse.
I don't think I actually hate anyone.
Mob hit bust warehouse. With Pennywise and Bigfoot. That fever dream. You know, considering I experienced in real life, I was thinking I may either be so actually traumatized by having to watch these people again, be back at it with the woke TikToks, or I may be way more able to handle than ever. So let me know what you think at the end, how I handled it. Rate me, put a little score in the comments.
Will I go where I please? I will continue to go into women's restrooms, women's locker rooms, women's spaces, because I am a woman, whether you like it or not. And there's nothing you can do about it. There's nothing Fox News can do about it. Ollie London, Ben Shapiro, Stephen Hilton, Tim Pool.
So here's the thing. First of all, we need to start talking about how, since y'all want to force this word passing on me, let's talk about it, babe. Since y'all want to imagine all the times Blair's went on about passing, even though I actively avoid the word, We're going to use it now. We're going to have some real talk now. So because you pulled it out of me, let's stick our heads up, sit up straight, and listen in a way that is very adult-like. Right? Passing is a lot more than looks. In fact, looks are often at the bottom of the totem pole. You know how y'all talk about how I just bash everyone's looks in regards to passing? When, if you really know the situation about passing, looks actually fall very low on that list.
I don't know about that.
It's about energy. It's about aggression level. It's about that spirit. And when you have this male aggression in you, to, as he's talking, he's lunging at the camera. Did y'all see that? He's like, I go where I please, and no one can stop me. Ollie London, Ben Shapiro. It's like, you're coming at, first of all, a list of men, like a man.
Yeah, exactly. A list of men, and you're literally going in women's safe spaces. So you're not. So all these men that are, by the way, like not even strong, like men in my humble opinion. Like, again, I'm like, I don't mean to offend anyone, but like they're not the apex, like alpha males, like Ben Shapiro. Like, I'm sorry, and I call him out too. But like, you're going after women. Like, you are a woman abuser, or an attempted. Sorry, because again, like, there's nothing committed yet, right? Like, he's just trying to.
While also saying, I'm a woman. I'll go wherever I want. Ben Shapiro. I'll go in the bathroom. Huh. I mean, if that's the demeanor you walk in that bathroom with, it's not a far off imagination in my head of why women are reacting with at least a side eye, right? At least a little, whoo. Because I would. Like, that's the other conversation. Like, if you're really like a trans woman and you got that, I'm very aggressive on camera. I'm very like, but in real life, it's like I do have a very sort of like, I'm to myself.
Yeah, me too.
Not submissive, but very like light. You know what I mean? And I'm not like, I'm going in this room. You know what I mean? But so that even if I came across this person trying to bust up in the room, I'd be like, oh, my safety is very much in jeopardy. But really, it is so much more than looks. And that's why it's also a double stupid thing when people talk about how I'm going on about passing despite never using the word. Because even if I were, how I really feel about passing is that looks is low on the bottom totem pole of what matters and what builds into that. Example, on the Jubilee debate, Jessica, who is one of the trans conservatives, you know, she talked about how she has self-awareness and she feels like she doesn't necessarily pass, but that she doesn't go to the women's restroom out of respect for them. First of all, that's amazing self-awareness, and that's also very commendable. People who put other people before them, that's just a good person in general, right? And the comments are full of people of women. No, not of people, of women. The comments are full of women. In fact, I saw a few top comments that were like, Jessica, you can come in the women's bathroom anytime you want because you clearly are a good person and you respect women. So that's that fact that it's about energy, right? The looks matter too. We're not disregarding it. And it's assessing a threat, which is what women actually do all of the time. Women are actually, this is one of the things that I have learned. I'm not learning any of the, you know, biological stuff in terms of periods or pregnancy or, you know, so many other things that only biological women will go through. But one of the things that I learned about being perceived as a woman in the world, once I started walking these streets and people saw in their head a woman, I realized how every day women are doing some level of threat analysis on the men around them. And no one is immune to it. When women walk into rooms with men, they are aware of what men are in the room, you know, on a vibe level, and they assess who's a threat, who's not, who is looking at me with sexual eyes, who's looking at me with a different type of eyes. It's just what they do. I definitely started doing it the moment the world started perceiving me as a woman, because it is palpable, that moment. Like, I felt it, I knew it. I was like, oh, this is the shift. This is the shift. Now I'm actually being treated like a woman by society. And with it comes a certain vulnerability. Is it the same level of vulnerability of women my exact, you know, size, height, weight, but without these man hands to defend themselves a little bit better? No, it's not the same level of threat. However, it's definitely a threat. I'm 5'5", 125 pounds. Like, men are a threat to me. And I have to make assessments based on who is a threat and how big of a threat every room I go in when it comes to men. Who's trying to fuck me? Who's trying to is disgusted by me, who likes me, who wants something else. It's like a thing. You got to remember, women have men that come up to them, strangers, to hit on them. And I'm not putting down men who, also that other side of the coin, have that courage to approach women, because I actually find that very honorable that you are willing to take it old school like that and approach someone in person. And I think that any woman with her salt is always going to respond with respect if you come at her with respect in that scenario, right? That's not what I'm talking about. When it's a mutual, like, this is a respectable moment between a male and a female, and it's a courting thing. It's a mating thing. It's like animalistic. What I am talking about is how women have creepy men who don't come up to them with good intentions all of the time.
Yep.
Regardless of how attractive they are.
Put him in a good place.
So that builds a level of distrust of men in any space. So they are doing these assessments of threat levels. And for you, sir, your threat level's 10.
Yep. Well,
It's
it's at least an 8.
Right? So since, again, Blair only cares about
hard 8.
passing, a word she doesn't use, but we're going to say it anyways. We'll start with the looks then. Yeah, you look 100% like a man. Not even 99, right? Like, that's just every characteristic on
But he's got
screen
little
is
earrings
man.
on.
But to double
He's got
that
earrings.
and add to it with that energy is the other part that's way bigger, actually. Because many women, even if they see you making a decent effort, even if they clock that you're trans, but they see you that you're clearly making an effort and clearly have an energy that goes with the look you're trying to have, at least, and not walking into bathrooms like this, Ben Shapiro, then that's a different story. You're a threat. I see you as a threat. And I have balls.
This is a special PSA
Oh my
for
God.
anyone who's raising a white
That was funny.
Please stop gassing your white daughters up to be mothers. Stop telling them that it is their destiny and their birthright to one day be a mother. They
Wow.
will one day be a parent. If they want to, cool, but stop making them feel like that's their birthright, because they often grow up feeling entitled to children.
Okay.
I
You know,
don't
I've never
understand
in
yet.
my spare time looked up the definition of birthright, but I would assume it has a little something to do with something that you were able to do specifically because of the way that you were born, right? So as a woman, I would say that giving birth, the thing that only women can do, it's birthright. God bless all the women struggling with infertility, but you know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, that's like the definition of a birthright. I actually can't imagine more of a birthright, especially coming from the people who say things like trans women and women's sports, participating in sports is a birthright. Nuts.
It's a necessity.
For you to
To
be so
advance
sick to
civilization.
reduce that to just white people, as if you're not just casually throwing out there which, race you want to breed less. Oh yeah, but don't worry, Black people can't be racist. Despite making a video about another race telling them to stop breeding and to stop telling their children to breed. I mean, you are racist as shit,
Yeah.
right? I mean, wow. I thought Blossom was bad. I genuinely think not even that race-obsessed Blossom would say this. And the background noise of all of this that makes it so much more demented is this is a teacher in a classroom
Oh, what?
teaching kids.
What?
I mean, I can't.
Do you want to know the trans version of the Roman Empire? It's the fact
That was
that
a
we are
teacher.
in stage 7 of genocide in America for trans
Oh
people.
my God.
I hate her.
Transgenderism has been around
Where that's
literally throughout history. Like, there was even transgender medical clinics in Germany in the early 1900s. There's accounts of various different ones throughout history as well. And there's and like, obviously not the same degree, but there's been male cross dressers and stuff like that throughout history as well. Okay, and just read into it how you want. Everyone thinks it's a friggin' new thing. Boring.
it's a strong word. Okay, let me break it down. Why? So there's another one of those examples of the trans activist who is supposedly pushing us in the right direction while gaslighting, terrifying, and lying to a group of people that is lied to that we are murdered at disproportionate rates, that is factually incorrect, to people that are already suffering from mental health issues of various forms. And you have them in a constant state of fear, you and the media who runs with this, and so easily throws out the word genocide. How dare you use that, first of all, for people who have actually been victims of that, right? There are still people alive today that survived the Holocaust and other forms of genocide or that have happened. So that's pretty disgusting, right? You're pretty nasty for that. Wild for you to throw that out so easily. All in the pursuit of fear-mongering a group of people that already suffer from mental health issues. So actually, you're a crazy abuser.
Yeah. So this is an adult, and children are gravitating towards these sites, and just like music and things like that, like the target audience, even video games, but now there's more adults, right, that are addicted to video games. It's crazy. But children gravitate towards this stuff, and when they want to have a sense of belonging or curious and things like that, and the hormones are racing and stuff like that, they're gravitating towards the Dylan Mulvaney's, the friggin' people like this, and they're giving them wrong information, and whether they know it or realize it or not, they're grooming people and or like leading them down friggin' reinforced biases and reality tunnels on social media that like it's gonna further warp people's friggin' brains and just the audacity of people to like come at adults that try to speak out on this stuff. Like we have like literally our prime minister, the deputy prime minister, we had the leader of the NDP, and like and countless others that I was sharing, like even the mayor, Mark Sutcliffe, just this past September when parents were trying to speak out on this stuff because like like parents were concerned because of even pornographic materials in schools. Yes, that did happen. And even teachers in Ontario with fake prosthetics. We're like, people are trying to speak out on this stuff and they don't feel comfortable with these types of people grooming their children and literally counter protests that involved so like thousands of law enforcement, but not to help like the parents or anything like that. No. But did they go against and do a counter protest for what's going on right now? Where's the counter protest with government for the pro-Palestine people that are all over the fucking country? Because it was literally public workers downtown Ottawa that like, and actually all over the country that were doing counter protests for the March for Freedom is what they wanted to call it. But again, it was to stop with the woke ideology push on children in schools and literally trying to take rights and freedoms away from parents. For teachers like Neely Kaplan Murr, who are literally unhinged psychopaths that have no idea what they're talking about, and just because they have a title after their name, probably self-prescribed, they think they had like that they're allowed to do this stuff. And literally, Jagmeet Singh and all these people saying that they were against the march, they were actually marching against it. And like I said, like there were thousands of law enforcement just in Ottawa alone, so in other areas as well. And I was streaming this live, and yeah, where are they? But no, government officials are actually cowering away, or just like over the past weekend, delivering coffee and donuts to pro-Palestinian protesters, and I'm not even making this up, that were even blocking highways and traffic, even the 401. And just to be clear, I am pro talking about what's going on in Gaza and Palestine. If you want to take a look at my social media platforms, okay, but I don't condone protests like this, you know what I mean, where you're like, anyway, again, but it's still legal. But I'm just saying there's a lot of hypocrisy and a lot of like again, the hypocrisy where people were even jailed for the Freedom Convoy and stuff like that, but you're allowing these protests to go on, and also giving coffee. So even law enforcement giving coffee and donuts to people that are literally blocking highways and off ramps in Toronto and around, and so yeah. Not a good look. Not a good look. And they're saying, oh, it's because people weren't allowed to like deliver it for them. So what's your fucking point? Oh, so like, oh, because people weren't allowed to deliver to them, so we delivered it to them. Like, would that same excuse would that have fucking worked for the March for Freedom or for the Freedom Convoy? No. No. Dumb excuse. And that's what literally law enforcement in Toronto were trying to like say, oh, it's because people couldn't go in to give them the coffee and the donuts. Do your job.
You're a crazy abuser.
And it's not surprising that Bill Blair, our Minister of National Defense, who's terrible at his job, who puts out the most malinformation and misinformation. So I'm just saying, like, people are literally trying to go after people that are trying to speak out on the bullshit that people like Bill Blair are pushing. But the rules that they're trying to, bully us with, like, oh, like you can't say this. I'm like, well, I'm actually just correcting what that dumb fuck said. So like, why don't you take your ass and fucking about turn and go to his fucking house and harass and bother fucking him, because I'm literally just correcting statements that he fucking said that were incorrect. Okay, that's gonna cause crimes against fucking humanity and or elicit emotional responses in people, which is why we have these fucking protests to begin with. All over the fucking country still, okay? And so you're delivering coffee too. So get the fuck off my property and get the fuck on Bill Blair's. Helen Gruce on fucking trial still. Like again this fucking week by morons within Huntmar Police Department that are that literally that she embarrassed because she's better at her job than they are and was speaking the truth, and the truth still gets you punished.
A psychopath who is downplaying genocide to take
and critical race theory as well. Like that was also something that they were trying to say, like, and fake history. Like what you're teaching kids about, even like the white history, like that guy, like, and he's a teacher, like he was spewing. What the fuck is that about? These are the people that are teaching your kids. Again, my sister's a teacher. She's an amazing fucking teacher. She's not teaching this shit, by the way, but she's getting a lot of grief sometimes too from like the teachers union and stuff like that too, because she's like there's a lot of shit that my sister's pushing back and saying like that's like not it, like I'm not, that's not correct, and I'm not fucking teaching that. She's a lot more polite than I am and more calm and patient when she talks to people. And again, I only get fired up during these videos because I get like triggered by a lot of this stuff sometimes. Not triggered, but like it's just controversial topics. And yeah, like, but like when I'm not doing these videos and stuff like that, I'm actually like a well-adjusted fucking person. I take my dogs for walks. Like I keep to myself. I'm more introverted. Like I read a lot, but I probably sound like, I don't know.
terrorize a group of people struggling with mental health issues. I mean, if anyone could break down what I'm doing and describe it in such horrific words, I mean, you're the devil. That is straight demonic, demon shit, right? I hope I'm not being too dramatic. Because let's not forget, George Bush was a Nazi. Mitt Romney was a Nazi, who's now a cucked out Dem. You know, John McCain was a Nazi. And then they want us to believe that Trump was actually the Nazi. He was actually Hitler. We were kind of joking every done.
I got misgendered at work on Wednesday by someone that has been corrected.
I buried someone that I loved deeply during a ramp ceremony in Afghanistan. Okay, I carried his medal and his beret during a ramp ceremony, and said my final goodbyes in the Chinook with a close handful of people that we that also knew and loved him, and multiple other examples of shit like that. But you were misgendered. Oh my God, I should cry for you. I feel so bad. Again, it's not a competition, but like just the fucking nerve to come out with shit like that, like as if your Starbucks fucking order came out wrong.
Me hard. I was 3 hours into my.
I had men try to break into my fucking home 2 years ago, circling my block for over 2 hours and shit. Like, anyway, I could go on a list, but
long shift. I don't even remember how long it was. Maybe 8 hours. My 8-hour shift. I immediately was like, no, I need to leave. So I left. I went home. And since then, I have been spiraling, which is not.
I'll back this up. So this person got misgendered. It's a woman. And I think she was literally saying that she didn't go to her job at all because she was misgendered. This is why you don't put this shit in your resume.
I got misgendered at work on Wednesday.
Actually, put it in your resume.
By someone that has been corrected before, and it just hit me hard. I
Not
was
even
3 hours into my long shift. I don't even remember how long it was, maybe 8 hours, my 8-hour shift. I immediately was like, no, I need to leave. So I left. I went home. And since then, I have been spiraling, which is not a fun thing to be dealing with when you are a broke person living in New York City and need to pay rent. So I'm getting ready to go to work right now, go to my other job. I called out last night, and I'm having to talk myself into showing up today.
How broke can you be if you just have this choice to wake up every day, whether or not you want to roll up to work?
Yeah, exactly.
It's just your choice, huh? I left work out of nowhere because someone said a word I didn't like. And then the next day I called in. And then today I'm really deciding, like, should I go to work or not? You can't be that broke. And notice how, first of all, when she said,
I've had to dig trenches for my job. I've been screamed at and fucking yelled at, even like during training, especially obviously, like, you know, like kicked. I've been slapped. I've been spit on, literally, like in my fucking like infantry career and stuff like that by fucking men, ladies and gentlemen, like you fucking name it. And I was misgendered. I don't want to show up tomorrow. I showed up every fucking day early and I left late. That's when I wasn't sleeping in the fucking office and stuff like that too. And gone and deployed, whether it be like for real time operations or training or LO or observation, whatever. And like, are you like, this is what I mean. Like, people need a reality check, honestly, in life. And wake the fuck up. Oh my God.
so I got misgendered at work today. And ever since then,
I have been spiraling.
She rewind it if you need to. She smiled.
Spiraling.
Again, because I'm psychoanalyzing these people from now on, that's the real her. She's smiling about it because she could not be more lit emotionally in a positive direction. That she had something happen that she is able to hop up on TikTok and make a video about. First of all, get that content, that clout, and then also have people feel bad for her and cry for her and tell her she's such a strong.
And there's a community. There's a lot of people like that watch these videos, they support, they like it, and it's reinforcing these behaviors.
Warrior going to work, you know, looking the way she does, and there's no one on the planet who would look at you and say anything other than she.
Yeah.
Blair's talking about not passing again. Not a word I used. I'm just talking about reality. If I looked like.
Right. Y'all know what time it is. It's time for more non-binary linguistics. Because let's be real, we in a different class than y'all. And I'm still not.
And the entitlement as well, and the fact that they continuously, not they, like, I mean, these specific people I'm talking about, like, I'm not categorizing everyone that's trans in this group, because again, I know people that are trans, and they very much do not feel comfortable in their own skin, never did, even growing up, just like Blair, and more feminine or more masculine in their features, and honestly just fit more into like those gender norms, whatever you want to call it, I don't even know, and more comfortable representing themselves as the other opposite sex, because they feel like they look and represent that sex more. And there's a lot of even like lady boys in Thailand. They don't consider themselves to be women. And I've talked about this before. I've been to Thailand. Like, I've been rock climbing, deep solo diving, you friggin' name it, jungle, friggin' excursions all over friggin' Thailand. I would love to go back. Ugh. And someone needs to watch my friggin' dogs for a little while, because it's been like 4.5 years of no friggin' break. Where's it going with this stuff? And yeah, and lady boys all over the friggin' world. And it is what it is. But the way some people like make such a mockery of women is also like on its own path of like ridiculousness, like what people like what men like portray women as, like when they are trying to look like us. And that's also insulting, and how they act too, and what they say, like, I'm a bimbo, oh, I love nature, or like frolicking in freaking heels. Anyway, and then the people that want to educate us, right? So that's another tactic that people use who are entitled.
Not doing math. All right, come into class. Don't be late. So to start today, we'll be talking about some gender-neutral synonyms that you can add to your vocabulary. Instead of saying phrases like ladies and gentlemen or boys and girls, try saying phrases like distinguished guests or beautiful people. Hell, Halloween coming up. You can even say goblins and ghoulies, and it would still be inclusive to all genders. All right, this one is for all my Spanish-speaking bilingual baddies out there. The Spanish language is traditionally a gendered language, like many, no shade. The gender-neutral conjugation in the Spanish language is ending words in an E. So with a word like nosotros or nosotras, you would end it in an E and say nosotres, and that would make it gender-neutral.
Do you notice how I was smiling through most of this guy's video? It's because he's funny, and I want to like him. But what I don't like is there's something off, right? And what's off is that confidence that really isn't confidence. Because for you to actually be a confident person who's really up here with that full intensity and that humor, you would have to love yourself. And I'm not saying you don't love yourself in some ways, but there's something you need to look deeper in yourself with why you can't just accept being what you are, which is an effeminate gay man. That's what you are. You're not non-binary. You're not under the trans umbrella.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of shame that effeminate gay men feel over being that. And I think it can cause some of them to reach for other words. Call me anything but that. I'm non-binary. I'm a third gender. I'm a fourth gender. Because being an effeminate gay man is so stigmatized, even in the LGBT community, by the way. Know that. That's real. So it's a shield you're putting on to get in between those bullets of people that are going to judge you for being an effeminate gay man. But I love you for being an effeminate gay man. Because it's real. That's what's real. That non-binary shit is not.
Yeah.
It's not real, babe. And it's blocking you from that full self-love. Because you have enough self-love to come up on camera. You're giving, you know, a look. I wouldn't do that look, but it's a look in your own head, which means that you put love into it, right?
So I just want to share some stuff, different perspectives. I also wanted to, I haven't seen this video yet either. It does talk about the Iowa school shooter.
You good? My name is Sheriff Adam Infante, INFANTE. I'm the sheriff here in Dallas County. I'm joined by our state, local, and federal partners here at the Perry High School. This morning at approximately 7:37 a.m., we had a Sears radio activation at the high school, which indicated an active
Adam Infant, a damn infant.
shooter situation. Officer first arrived within
Let's see this in
7 minutes of that
gematria.
activation, and located multiple gunshot victims. We're still unclear of exactly how many are injured or what the extent of those are, but we're working on that right now. There is no further danger to the public. The community is safe. We're just now working backwards, trying to figure out everything that happened and make notifications. There'll be another update later on today. It's still very early. This happened at approximately 7:37 this morning. School didn't start yet, luckily. So there was very few students and faculty in the building, which I think contributed to a good outcome in that sense. But we'll have more information later on this afternoon. We will not be releasing any more information in the meantime.
88 stands out for gematria. Okay, so it says a school shooting occurred in Iowa on Thursday morning. According to reports, the shooter opened fire before 0800 hours, 8 a.m., injuring at least 3 people before taking his own life. The incident happened at Perry High School in Dallas County, with police quickly securing the scene. Now the shooter has been allegedly identified as Dylan Butler, and his background is going to bust some narratives. In Perry, Iowa, Dylan Butler began firing his weapon inside Perry High School at approximately 7:37 a.m. So you've got that 737. Of course, I'm going to report that. And you got, 37 times 773 is 2701. And a lot of different religious buildings, like even the Vatican, like there's the numbers like 1207 or 2701, or any different like variation between, and watch why even like the seven digits of my phone number for my entire adult life has had those variation of those numbers. I'm not even kidding you, and addresses as well during certain points. And it's a mirror. They're mirror numbers. They're triangular numbers. There's a lot to those numbers, and I've talked about this in previous videos. So I was gonna see if I was gonna share anything else, but just one second here. Yeah, 2701. And even with acres of land that people have, like even Bohemian Grove and stuff like that. And Even with New York and the Twin Towers, there was towers 1, 2, and 7, and then they called it ground 0 at the end. So you've got that 1207 or that 2701 in there as well. But again, then specifically, the reason why those numbers are used is specifically because of 37 and 73. And okay, let me see. I think for that section, I will in this topic, I will leave it at that. And I hope that everyone has a wonderful day.